Okay, it's the next day, and just do another quick recap of where we got to. So we got the battery fitted, we've got the motor fitted. So really all that's left now is all the periphery stuff and then neatening up all the wiring. So one thing I did do, which probably wasn't on camera, was in order to run this cable, which has to go up the beam to the front because it's where it's going to connect to the controller. To make it nice and neat, I basically took this bracket off again so that I could feed the cable up behind it and then reattach the bracket. So it's not pinching it or anything. It just keeps it nicely in the right place so that it can be cable tied up there. And then we've got the battery one here. I've got the other battery one here, which I don't know if you can see that. I bored it up through that gap there between the motor and the frame. There's a small gap there, so that cable can go through there, and that also brings that into the right place and keeps it out of the way. There's a small hole in the frame here, and at the moment I've just pulled this. This is for the gear change sensor, which I'm not going to use, so this cable will be redundant, so I'll probably just sort of cable tie that up out of the way like that. And then the only thing that's left is on the bottom then is this cable, which is for the speed sensor, which will be mounted sort of here because it has a little magnet which fits onto one of the spokes, and this cable just plugs into the sensor which will clamp on here. And then again cable tie that to the frame, and then the only other thing left is this tiny little thing here, and this is for the light. So for this one I'll probably try and feed it up through this little hole as well, and then bring the cable from the light, which will be here, down the frame and connect it up under here and just sort of cable tie it all up there. So that's what's left to do for cabling. And then this is what we've got left. So we've got the screen, which needs to be fitted on the handlebars. We've got the lamp, the front light, which needs to be fitted just above the front wheel, obviously. We've got the thumb throttle, which has to go on the handlebars. I need to reattach the bell on the opposite side from where I took it off. We've got the two brakes with the switch sensors in them so that it cuts the motor when you pull the brakes. So those need to be put on in place of the ones that are currently there. And then we've got some cable here for this has got the speed sensor in it, and the cable that splits out into the two brake sensors and the display sensor, etc. To put on too. And obviously I still need to connect the battery up with that cable, or solder a new one myself, but we'll see what we do. So all that's got to go on. Unfortunately, to get the brakes, these brakes off, and to get the thumb throttle on, etc., you can't just sort of clamp it round like that. You've got to take this rubber off and then slide them on from the side, and get these rubber grips back on again at the end. So that's going to be a real pain in the backside because they're really tight to get on and off these. Yeah, that's what I'll start doing next. I'll put the lamp on first, I think. So I managed to find a black bolt. It doesn't come with one. Obviously, it's going to vary from bike to bike, but I managed to find a nice black bolt that will fit through the hole that's built into this bike here. So that will look nice. I've got a couple of washers and a nut. So all I'm going to do is pop that on there, and that should keep get the lamp into a nice position like there. Stick the washer on the back. Looks pretty good. just tighten that up. Next size up. That's pretty solid. So then this cable is going to just run up here, and this will plug into, has to plug into those little cable on the motor. So what we do is we just cable tie that along with all the others down the frame to the bottom like that. So anyway, I'll just leave that for the moment. In fact, I'll thread it through the hole in the frame at the back there, like that. And that just keep it all where it needs to be. Okay, so that's the lamp. Now I've got to do the all the stuff on the handlebars, so I've got to pop these ends off. And then try and work this off, which is really tough. Oh, not so bad. I have rolled it inside out, but there you go. I think getting it back on is going to be a lot more troublesome. Okay, so now we need to take this brake off. So we need to get the cable out of here to clip into the new one. So there should be a tiny little notch on here so that you can literally just pull the cable out from the front like that. And then once you've got it out like that, you can just, there's like a little barrel on the end, and you basically just need to unhook the barrel like that. That's the cable detached. Now we just need to get the brake lever off. Slide that off. Nice and easy. And then we just need to put the thumb throttle. So this just clamps on, and then just slide it into where you want it, and I'll tighten it up afterwards. I'll put this one back on again now. Okay, let's get a rough idea of the rubber we've got to there. So we want the brakes basically about there. And then all we've got to do is feed this little barrel back into the new brake. So you just pop it in there like that, and then stretch the cable through there. Line up your little holes. if you're lucky, it'll go in, but if you're not lucky, you'll have to loosen it off at the other end. And unfortunately, I'm not lucky, so I've got to loosen it off at the back because there's not enough play. Okay, so now I've loosened it at the back, I should be able to pull enough spare cable through. There you go. Get that through there like that. Now I can tighten it back up, but obviously I've got to adjust the brake again at the end. Make sure the brakes are still working. Now I need to do the other side. These are just stoppers in the end here on this bike. And then what I found is that you can just, the grips are so soft you can actually kind of roll it up to get it off. Literally roll it into a kind of almost like you're turning it inside out. And then once you get it to a certain point, there's so little left on the handlebar that you can just overcome the friction and slide it off. So, get this one off. So, I don't know if you can see, get it close enough. There's a little slit in that metal bit there. If you rotate this one, there's another slit on this one. So you need to get all the slits lined up so you can get the cable out. So you just pop that through there, and then the cable will come all the way out. And then just rotate the little barrel by spinning the cable in your fingers, and then you just drop it out. See, there's the little barrel bit. Okay. The brake. This time we can just slide it up to the gears because that's where the old one was. And then we can just reattach. So just tighten this up. Same sort of thing to put the new one on. You've got these two slits, just need to line them up. Pull out the brake. There's a little hole for the drum. Put the drum in there and let it rotate a little bit. That makes it sort of lock into place. And then you have to just stretch out the cable so that you can get that in there. And again, it's going to be just too tight. You'll have to loosen off the front one as well. Okay, so now we've got enough slack. Pull that through, and we can just tighten this back up again. That's going to need to be tightened up a bit more, but I'll do that at the end. Keep that one on that side so I know which side came from which. Okay, so we've got the brakes, we've got the thumb throttle, which will have to be all of these will have to be sort of cable tied along here or put inside some of this is what I used for my bike before. It's like a plastic mesh, and you just kind of put all your cables inside together, and then it just makes it look a lot neater. Just makes for a better finish, really. So I'll probably use that. So we've got the brakes and the throttle. So next thing to fit is the well, I can put the bell on at the end, but the display. So this is the display I've got for mine, and it's basically got like 2 clamps on the back, and the idea is that you put it sort of either side of the central stop, so that it sort of sits right in the middle over the middle of the handlebars, and then there's a small button which luckily you don't have to slide on because this is plastic, so you can just bend that open to put it around there, and that's your sort of plus and minus. So that's like more power to help you and less. So you want that near your thumb on the handlebar, and it's also got the power button for turning the whole unit on and off. Now interestingly, yeah, it goes that way up, and in the bottom here there's a small USB port, which is what you use to charge your phone while you're cycling. So it's a nice little display, this one. It comes with these rubber grips so that you can put them inside there to get you a nice tight grip when you tighten up the bolts. Depends how thick your handlebars are. In this case these are pretty fat, so I think it's got different thickness ones here, but I think I'll only need a couple of the thinnest ones just to give it some grip, because I think the plastic won't grip the handlebars otherwise. Okay, so the things want to go either side here. So what we'll do is we'll stick one of the rubber things over there first, and then we'll stretch that out to get that one on, and stretch that one out to get that on. See, it fits quite nice. It's just in the right spot. And then what I'll do is I'll just feed this rubber thing inside there, and it'll just give it a bit of grip. But if it's too thick, which in this case there's no way you're going to get a bolt through there, I'll have to just do without it. But to be honest, I think that will tighten on there tight enough anyway. It comes with the little bolts you need to mount it. Yeah, it's not moving. Okay, so now we've got to mount the control on the handlebar here, which, like I say, luckily is just a plastic, so that is quite easy to do. But try and get your cables in the nicest sort of orientation. And then there's one other little screw for this one, little nut and bolt. thumb throttle pretty much as close as I can get it. And just a little bit of clearance between the two. So, I mean, really, you can just plus and minus. You don't have to do it that often, really. And then, you know, you rarely have to power on, only at the start, but then you just plus and minus there, and you just thumb throttle there. Perfect. Right, so then the only other cable that comes out of that is this one, which has got a plug in the end of it for the minute, and that's the one that has to come around this side, and that's what will plug in with all the others to, along with the brake lever and the thumb throttle, and the other brake lever, which is there. All of that is going to want to go through there together. So all of these cables can all be connected up together. Right, so the only thing left now is put the cable on the front and connect all these up, and put the speed sensor on the back here, and obviously we attach the bell and get the hand grips back on, but we're getting close. So there's one cable from the battery, which is from the motor, which is this one, which comes up to here, and then you get this other cable, so this end connects to that bit, and it splits out into 4 separate cables. So the green one is the one that goes to the display. These 2 yellow ones is for your 2 brakes, and the other yellow one is for your thumb throttle, which is that one. And you can't get it wrong because they've done it in such a way that only the right ones fit together, and obviously the colour tells you which one is for the display. So I've already routed all the cables where I want them. So this one is the display with a plug in the end, and you see it's green inside, and that's the one that will plug onto that green one. But you just have to make sure there's a small little dent at the top, and it just matches up. And there's also handily some arrows on both of them, so you can line it up nicely, and then it just slots together like that. And that should be a waterproof connection. I mean, yeah, water resistant. Obviously you don't want to put the bike underwater. Okay, so then we want thumb throttle, and again you just line up the arrows. Sorry, wrong one. That's the brake. This is the thumb throttle. Line up the arrows. Quite a tight lip over the top. I guess that's for the waterproof. There you go. So that's the thumb throttle, and then you've got your brakes. I don't believe it matters which one goes where, because they just both do the same thing. They just cut the motor. So I'm going to try and just sort of do it from the side that it appears to be on, which is that one. Like that. Okay, so that's all that stuff connected up, and then you're going to want to sort of neaten all this cabling up. I think I've got these sort of bunched up here on my bike because they're too thick to fit through that wrapping stuff, but I've put wrapping around a lot of these ones just to tidy it up, but that's something you can do at the end. So what we'll do in the meantime is we probably want that about there. So this one will come down and join onto this one, from the motor, and again it's just a question of lining up the arrows and putting it together like that. Okay, so we've got all the main unit attached. We can attach the lamp, which is under here. And then we've got the thingy sensor, which we're not going to use, so see if I can just thread that up there for now, and tidy all that up too. And then I'll put the lamp. Now, cleverly, these have got the same connector on each side, and it doesn't say positive or negative, and it doesn't have a red or a black wire, they're just two black wires. So one's all black and one's black with a white line. But if you put it the wrong way round, you can probably I would say that black goes with all black. I don't know if it will blow the bulb, you see, if you get it wrong. And black and white would go with red. That's what I'm going to guess. So that's that one. And then we just got the speed sensor, which has got to go here. So we'll do that bit. So basically you've got a magnet which you put on one of the spokes, and you put a screw in there to hold that in place, and then you've got a bracket which has got a bit of sort of sticky tape on it, but also a couple of slots for putting cable ties through, and you basically clamp, peel the tape off, and then you stick that like that, and then put the cable ties through, and then the actual sensor, which is here, sits. So that doesn't break it. Sits inside that like that, and then there's a little screw you put in there to stop that from coming out. But you've just got to get it out of space. So on the top there's a little cross here. This is where the magnet has to pass by for it to recognise it. So that's why you need to sort of stick it on the inside of the frame like that, so it's quite close to the spokes. So the sensor will just go on there, and it only fits one way, like that, and then you just screw that up tight. That makes a waterproof connection. Okay, so that's the sensor on the cable, and then I think we want it probably about that here somewhere. It also needs to be close enough for the sensor to pick up the magnet. So let's put the magnet where we want the magnet. Yeah. So it's one of these star-shaped ones. It's just to make life simple. Another different type of connector. Okay, that's on. So now, we just need to peel off the double-sided tape. Right, that shouldn't move. So now I just need to put the little screw in there to lock that in place, and that is a crosshead, luckily. Okay, I'll I'll trim all this off at the end. So that's it. You've got the speed sensor connected. The only thing that's left is to connect the battery. And so, in order to do a quick test, what I might do is just use this cable that came with it. Like that. And if I feed that underneath the battery, I can actually keep it nicely hidden. Keeps that out of the way. That doesn't look too bad actually. So there's a switch on the back side. Turn the battery on. So it's charged. So let's have a little test and see if we get the display to come on. So if I press and hold this button, see that? Yay! So it's on assistance level 1. So I'll put it down to 0. So this is assistance is working. And then the thumb throttle, well, if I do that now the bike's going to move, so let's just so that's it really, it's all working. So now what I've got to do is neaten up all the cables, put loads of cable ties in, adjust all the brakes again so that they work properly, and it'll be ready for a proper trial run. So I won't bore you with all the neatening up stuff, but I'll do another final shot when it's all finished, and then we'll do some shots of it being ridden, so you can see what it's like. Okay, so there we have it. It's pretty much finished. I ran out of black cable ties because a lot of them snapped, so I've had to use some white ones. That's all I had available. But I'll buy some black ones and then I'll swap these over for black ones because I think it probably looks a bit better with black, although it doesn't look too bad. So yeah, I've braided all the cables here, you see, with that wrap stuff. Sort of keeps them all nice and neat together, makes it look a lot better. And then it's all cable tied down there, and a lot of the cables all tidy there. I managed to fit the back light, which I can test now by, let's see, got back light, got front light, and then we've got the display, and it's currently charging my phone. So you have a nice little cable here, so you can have your phone there with Google Maps on it or whatever you're following, and it'll keep it charged up. I just need to fully charge the battery now before first use. I've got the bell back on. I've checked all the brakes, I've adjusted all the stuff, so it's all pretty much working. I just need to give it a test ride now, which we'll do tomorrow. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. What do you think?